Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends, thank you for joining us this evening to mark and indeed to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, Ireland's National Day. Ernesto and I are really humbled by your presence. This year we are especially happy and indeed honoured to have a member of the Irish Government with us here in Prague for this event. We are really delighted to have Minister Colm Brophy, Ireland's Minister for Migration, with us this evening. Minister Brophy has been a member of the Irish Parliament, Dáil Éireann, for the last decade. Responsibility for migration is his second ministerial office, having previously served as Minister for Overseas Development Aid and the Diaspora. As well as joining us for our wonderful St. Patrick's Day parade through the heart of Prague yesterday, Minister Brophy has today had a series of valuable engagements with the Czech Government and Parliament, strengthening still further the strong and enduring bilateral relationship between our two countries. In the context of Minister Brophy's visit to Prague, we are especially delighted to have the Czech Deputy Minister for Justice, Adam Smyslewicz, as our guest speaker on behalf of our Czech hosts. First, though, it is my great pleasure to invite Minister Colm Brophy to share with us his remarks. Minister.
First thing I'll do is, because I'm not a tall guy, I'll lower the mic so you can all hear me. Ministers, Excellencies, friends, it's wonderful to be here in Prague to celebrate Ireland's National Day, St. Patrick's Day. It's quite amazing for me because I was sitting here earlier on today thinking what I would say, and one of the most amazing things that struck me is this, that I first came to Prague about 22 years ago. Myself and my wife were married just I think a few months, and we decided we'd love to come to Prague and see Prague. Now, if anyone had told me on that day that I would be coming back to Prague 22 years later, that I would be leading an Irish parade through the centre of town, being given great advice on how many minutes to speak for at the end of the day, and being told not to exceed only a few minutes, and trust me, I'm going to take that aboard for tonight as well. And the privilege I would have to be a government minister, to be here, to represent my government, my country, but also primarily to represent the Irish people who've made Prague and the Czech Republic their home. Because it is so important, I think, to recognise that on St. Patrick's Day. My current job is a Minister for Migration. I spend a lot of time talking about inward and outward migration. But one of the most important things I think always to recognise was my former job as a diaspora minister, and to recognise the importance of people who go to another country to make their home in it. So many Irish people have done that over so many years and made an incredible contribution to the country in which they've gone to. And on St. Patrick's Day or St. Patrick's weekend of celebrations, I just want to take the opportunity to acknowledge all those Irish people who've come here, who've worked, who've settled in, and who've say, you know, it's something that we as a country are always so proud of what you do and the contribution you're making to your new country. And it's also important, I think, to acknowledge part of the great ties between our two countries, because Ireland and the Czech Republic have really strong ties that bind us together. We have a belief in the internationalness of our membership of the European Union. We have strong ties that go back over many, many years. We are a country, I think when we work together, and it's very important, and I've met so many members of Parliament and ministers today, that you can see that strength and depth of where it is and the importance of working together on key issues. And that's going to feed very importantly into our work in the next half of this year, because Ireland will assume the presidency of the European Union. It is a very key role over the next 6 months of work. A lot of the area of work will be in my area of responsibility, which will be in migration, because a key part of the changes in terms of migration law across Europe will come into force in June, and we'll be the first presidency dealing with the operational side of that. And I've no doubt it's going to keep me very busy. But we have, obviously, as a country, we have a number of areas that we want to focus on during our presidency, and the security of Europe and the rule of order, it will be very important to us as part of that work that we're going to do, along with our work in migration. I want to take, though, just a couple of moments just to acknowledge, I think, in the circumstances in which we find ourselves, the importance around that security. We, as a militarily neutral country, but we are most emphatically not a politically neutral country. We believe in the international order. We believe that when we see some of the things that are happening in our world, how important that is, and we will continue to be a champion for that. At the same time, we will continue to bolster our own security and to work with our European partners in every way to ensure that, and to continue, obviously, to support Ukraine and to make every effort that we can to be there for Ukraine, particularly in these very difficult times. But tonight is not a night for being too serious or for having too many, and certainly not long speeches. So I just want to say that we really do like the Czech Republic. We really do. But there's just one little moment coming up in just over a week's time. And I'm afraid our love does not extend that far. So at a certain match, in just about a week's time, I'm going to be unequivocally shouting my head off for Ireland, wanting the right result for Ireland. It is absolutely incredible back home just how focused almost everybody is. As a matter of fact, when I said I was going to Prague for St. Patrick's Day, the only thing I was asked was, can you get tickets for the match? Can you get tickets for the match? Don't come back without tickets for the match. So, since I can't actually get 20,000 tickets for the match, I might have to stay here right the way through till the match is over. Anyway, listen, can I just say to everybody, thank you very much for coming along. Have a lovely evening, and we really do, as I say, appreciate your presence here to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with us. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure for me. I would like So it's a real pleasure for me to be here today to celebrate St. Patrick's Day together with you. First, allow me to convey the Minister of Justice sincere apologies, as he was not able to join us today. Due to unexpected circumstances, he was unable to attend and asked me to represent him on this special occasion. I must also confess that I learned about my participation only a few moments ago. I was so excused for not wearing anything green today. At least I managed to find this green folder, which I hope counts as a modest attempt to honor St. Patrick's Day tradition. And given how last minute this was, please allow me simply to read the minister's speech, which I fully support. St. Patrick's Day reminds reminds us how traditions can connect people across countries and generations. What was once a religious holiday has become an international celebration of Ireland, its traditions, very rich culture and history. Many nations, including the Czech Republic, feel close to this spirit, and perhaps this is why it feels so natural to celebrate it here in Prague. Czechs and Irish people both know how important it is to meet, talk, share stories, and sometimes solve the world's problems over a good conversation. The relationship between the Czech Republic and Ireland is built on these same values: respect, cooperation, and friendship. Although our countries are not close geographically, we share much in common. Both nations believe in democracy, education, innovation, and rule of law. Within the European Union, we work together as partners who know that cooperation makes us stronger. Our bilateral relations continue to develop in many areas. Trade and investment between our countries are growing, and Irish companies play an important role in the Czech economy, especially in technology and services. At the same time, many Czech citizens have lived, studied, or worked in Ireland, and Irish citizens also contribute to cultural and professional life here in Prague. These personal ties make our partnership real and lasting. From the perspective of justice and law, cooperation between our countries is more important than ever. Crime today does not stop at national borders, especially in the digital world. No country can face these challenges alone. Ireland and the Czech Republic work closely together to promote an effective justice system that protects citizens while respecting fundamental rights and freedoms, by sharing experience and building trust between all institutions. What I personally find inspiring about Ireland is its ability to combine tradition with modernity. A country long known for its literature, music, and storytelling has also become a global leader in innovation, digital transformation, and new ideas. This balance between past and future is something we all try to achieve. Today's celebration reminds us that diplomacy and politics is not only about official meetings and negotiations. It is also about moments like this, moments that bring people together, create understanding, and strengthen friendships. Allow me therefore to wish that friendships between the Czech Republic and Ireland continues to grow, that our cooperation remains strong, and that the spirit of the St. Patrick's Day, warmth, optimism, and togetherness stays with us throughout the year. So thank you, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you all.
For their remarks, and to ask all of you to join us in raising a glass to Ireland and the Czech Republic. Nazdraví, Smončova, and good health. And happy St. Patrick's Day, Manic Day, Lepore, Orlum Calera.